What's going on, everybody? This is your man Greg Doss, aka DJ Squid, and I'm being brought to you by themanmindset.com and gregdoss.com. You can find me every Wednesday night on the Greg Doss / DJ Squid show. And I'm going to cover this briefly tonight, but do most people operate based on what they know or what they've been told? Now you may say, well, what inspired you to think about this? Well, just given today's social climate, you can hear similar slogans almost anywhere that you go. And I was talking to a guy for a friend of mine, and his issue was, of course, child support. And we were having conversations, and he'd ask me a question, and I try to ask questions that would help inspire him to think about what it is that he was asking me. Because I've often heard that if somebody gives you something, you tend not to appreciate it the same way that you do when you work for it yourself. So I seldom give answers that don't inspire people to want to go do some work, because again, this is going to be your walk and your journey. Nonetheless, during the course of our conversation, I said to him, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember verbatim, but I said, well, I'm Superman. And he laughed at me. And I said, well, why are you laughing? I'm Superman. He said, man, you'd have to prove that to me. I said, oh, I have to prove to you that I'm Superman, but none of the people who you complain about, who may be taking advantage of you for many years, had to prove any of the information that they gave you. So it made me ask myself, and I've done this before, do people speak based on what they know or what they've been told? You've been told many things growing up through life and throughout life, I guess. We were told that there was a Santa Claus. At least most of us were told that there was a Santa Claus. And then you found out that Santa Claus does not exist. Now, people, if you have little kids around, don't let them hear me say that. I don't want them to hate Uncle Squid because he told them the truth. That's interesting. Telling somebody the truth may make them hate you. But telling somebody a lie may endear them to you for life. We've got to do better than this, people. Anyway, do we operate based on what we know or what we've been told? How many of you have ever taken the time to read the Constitution? Now, on an episode of the Greg Doss DJ Squid show, you're going to hear me read the Florida Constitution. And I think on probably one of the upcoming episodes, we'll probably discuss the United States Constitution. Or I may just do a YouTube and discuss a couple of it. But anyway, a guy was telling me that, well, this is what you have to do. I said, are you sure you have to do that? Well, yeah, because the people told me that I need to go and pay them this, or I need to go and do that. And I said, have you ever taken the time to go and search for yourself? Because it's not research if you've never looked before. How did you find out there was no Santa Claus? Did you sit by the chimney when you were, or if you had a chimney, when you were 25 or 26? Or did you start using logical deduction? Do you believe that you should do what a woman tells you to do? Or do you know that you should do what a woman tells you to do? Or a man? And why do you believe, or why do you think that way? Because you know it's in your best interest, or because somebody told you that it would be in your best interest? And by the way, how has that played out for you? I was talking to a young man the other day, and he said something, and I said, you sound like a parrot. Now, a parrot doesn't really speak. It kind of mimics your sound. And it mimics the sound for a motivation. And I bring this to you to hopefully inspire you all to give some deep consideration to the fact that parrots mimic like many of you all do, but they can never carry on a conversation because they can't create original thought. Many of you don't create original thought. Many of you are inspired by what somebody else, whose motivation you may or may not know, told you to do and or think. And that includes your teachers, that includes pastors, it includes a host of people. Ask yourself, what is their motivation? Fellas, if you happen to be paying child support, have you ever thought to ask yourself, or you have to ask yourself, or seek some advice from somebody, or whether it's legal advice, and I don't give legal advice, if you want legal advice, seek an attorney and be advised, or someone who's done lawful research and say, well, maybe what you think you're doing may not have any substance or merit within the letter of the law. And people, even morality is subjective. It's not objective necessarily, because what may be beneficial to you may not be beneficial to the next person, and so on and so forth. But anyway, going back to what you know versus what you've been told. How do you know 2 + 2 is 4? Do you base your response on what somebody told you? Or have you, hopefully if you're an older person, learned to logically figure out or reason why 2 + 2 is 4? Whether you can visualize it, or you have to use manipulatives and write them down or what have you. But you know that. But in many of the things that you do in your day-to-day operations or your day-to-day life, you do basically because somebody told you to do it. And you naturally have to use some discretion when you come to whatever decision you're going to come to about what you're going to do because you're told, versus what you want to know, that you're doing properly, or just to know in general. At any rate, take the time to give yourself to consider what I've asked you today. Are you doing things based upon what you know, or are you doing things based upon what you've been told? I'm Greg Doss, aka DJ Squid. You can find me every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Blog Talk Radio. You can just query me or go to gregdoss.com, click the link above the mic, and of course, I want you all to always remember that sometimes it's not about right or wrong. More importantly, it's about clarity. And you'll never reach resolution if you're not willing to engage in honest dialogue, even if that dialogue is with yourself. Now, take time to love the person you hug and hug the person you love. I'm Greg Doss, saying peace and chicken grease. I'm out of here.